Why don't you like me? My first period. That's from Friends, guys. I don't know if you watch Friends like right the way through, like 10 times over, like I have, but that's. Oh, if I was to guess now, what season would that be? Maybe season 4, and it's somewhere in the middle. Let's say episode 9. I'm gonna look this up and see if I'm right. Um, okay. Why don't they like me? Shit. What a good question. I think we've all felt like this at one point or another. Why don't they like me? This is like, it's always when you're in a new group, a new situation, or something like that, and you see a group and you think, yeah, I could be part of that group, or maybe you don't think you could be part of that group, but you just see them and you're like, well, I mean, there's no one else here, and I kind of want to hang out with someone, so you try and get in there, and in trying to get in there you discover that they don't want you around, and that is very upsetting, and it's very triggering, and it's very disappointing, and it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. And so instead of just accepting that maybe you're not supposed to hang out with these people, maybe they're actually right and you really don't have anything in common with them. Instead of coming to terms with that, I think a lot of us will just try harder. We'll go the extra mile, we'll do a little bit more, we'll try and fit in and be more like them and less like us, and really try and see that through until we get the desired outcome, and that is to be part of that group. And it's triggering because it brings up feelings of not being enough. It brings up feelings of inadequacy. It brings up feelings of worthlessness. It brings up feelings of being an outcast, remembering once being an outcast. 25 years ago, I was an outcast for 5 minutes. And I didn't process that then, and I'm not processing this very well now, so I'm just gonna keep on giving. And the trouble with this gift that keeps on giving, this need to overextend yourself and to prove yourself and to show people who you are, is that you're singing to the wrong crowd. Like, they'll never see you. They don't want to see you. They'll never see you. And there's no point to it because, as I always say, a better question to ask yourself is, how do I feel? How do I feel about these people? And I think, if you ask yourself that, if you ask yourself, wait a second, like, I'm really worried about whether they like me, but do I actually really like them? And I think you'll usually find that the answer is no, you don't really like them because you don't really have anything in common. Like, there's really not very much that you agree on, socially, emotionally, spiritually, politically, intellectually, in matters of humor, in matters of altruism, in matters of the environment, in matters of fashion, in matters of where you go out and things you do and things you don't do, and everything. I'm sure as shit that you guys really don't have anything in common. And it's just this sort of inherent need within a lot of us to want to be part of the group and want to fit in. But guess what? When a group or a person, and it could be like a crush, it could be, what could it be? It could be a single person, like just one person, or it could be a group. It could be a group that, let's say, you work in a new job, you're in a new environment, so this is a new group of people, or it's a new phase in your life. Let's say you're in university, or somewhere other than where you've spent the last number of years and built up your own group of friends, or whatever. It could also be something that you inherit, like in-laws, stuff like that, or entering into a new phase of your life. Let's say you have children or whatever it is, so you want to be associated more with people who also have children, so you join like a mom group or whatever. And again, you find that you might find this resistance in all of these type of areas where these people really are not very welcoming to you, and it's upsetting, and you don't know how to process that other than to go back in time in your brains to a place where you once felt the same way, and then you wallow in self-pity and misery, and your way of handling that, of dealing with that, is to overextend yourself and to try even harder to fit in. But allow me to introduce to you a different method of handling this type of rejection, and that is to accept it. It's to say, yeah, okay, they don't like me. Well, that's great. Now I know. I've got all the information that I need. So I know that they don't like me, so fuck it. I'm going to hang out with someone else. Or if it's not a question of hanging out with someone else, like, like I mentioned, like if it's inherited family or something like that, or, maybe not even your own inherited family, like let's say you've been seeing someone for quite some time, or you just got married or whatever, and you're involved with their family, or it could be that one of your siblings or one of your best friends or whatever has also sort of inherited this new group of people, and since you all hang out together anyway, so you have to spend more time with these people, or include them in things, include them in events, or occasions that you host, or whatever the fuck it is. It could be anything. But again, it's the same thing. If you're feeling this resistance and you're feeling like, no matter what you do, you're just not connecting on any level, and you don't really feel any sort of sincere bond between you guys, and you don't really feel that they are reciprocal in their approach. They don't put in as much effort as you do. So my advice to process this is to, rather than sink into like low vibe feelings, just do your best to accept that this is really good information. Like, the different perspective to take on this is, it's not a bad thing that you've been rejected. It's actually a good thing. It saved you a lot of time and effort. Like, investing your time and effort into a venture that is never going to succeed is a drain on you, and it's a waste of your precious and valuable time on this earth. So the sooner you receive this information, this feedback, the better. You should actually say, well, thank you. Thanks for fucking letting me know, guys. Like, I haven't been running around like a headless chicken trying to figure this shit out for months or years on end. You can just say, shit, well, now I know. So there you go. And rather than linking the feelings that you feel about this, which is, I mean, yes, of course you're going to feel disappointed. It doesn't feel nice to be rejected. But instead of linking that big, deep, depressing feeling of rejection to a time in the past where you also felt rejected and, outcast, and when you link those two feelings together, you create a narrative, you create this story within your mind that I'm unworthy, I am unlovable, like no matter what I do, I'm never accepted. Don't tell yourself this bullshit story, because it isn't true. Like, they are literally just one group of people, or in some cases we could even just be talking about literally one person, like one single solitary person in this vast world of billions of people. And you're sitting there forlorn and doubting yourself, and in a sense rejecting yourself, because you're saying these things to yourself. Like, honestly, these people are not saying these things to you. You're the one that's saying these things to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's not them that's saying these things. You're the one that's processing and interpreting the situation in this way, and then telling yourself the story that it's you. But really, it's not you, it's them. And although we are all one, we're all one love, and we're all the same species, we must all have empathy for each other. We must all do our best, to love one another. with boundaries. At the same time, that doesn't mean that we must all get along. It doesn't mean that we must all hold hands nightly and sing to each other. It doesn't mean that we must all be in each other's business and share special moments of our lives together. Sometimes people come into your life and it takes a little bit of time for you to realize that they're not actually worth keeping in your life. And it's okay to just let go of that and make space for something else to come in, for the real group to come in, for your true soul tribe to come in, for the people that you really belong with, that when you ask yourself the question, do I like them? The answer that you come up with, like, you don't even have to think about it. The answer that you come up with is, yeah, I fucking love them. Like, I adore them. They're like my favorite fucking people, you know? And I would spend any amount of time with them. I would never get bored and tired of their company. And the other thing is, and this is another really important thing to remind yourself, if you find yourself sinking into these like low vibe feelings of worthlessness, and you are not worthless, please let me confirm this to you today. You are not worthless. So if you're thinking that, you are worth more than you even fucking know, man. So keep that in mind. But yeah, so when you're thinking about people who like you really gel with, like you really get along with these people, if they do something wrong, like, and we're all human, like we all fuck up sometimes, like we might be a little bit insensitive by accident, we might say the wrong thing, or we might do the wrong thing and not realize it. When you really care for someone and love them, like if they make a mistake and they acknowledge it and they agree that they made a mistake and they try to make amends, you forgive them. Like you don't like hold any hatred in your heart and negativity and a need for vengeance and to get back at them and to have one up on them at all times. Like that doesn't happen when it's a true and sincere bond and connection. And so that's I'm talking about that, an outward thing, something that comes from you, that you don't feel that about other people. And so likewise, when you are with the right group of people, when you are with the right person, when you inevitably make a mistake, they too will forgive you. They too will not carry anger and hatred in their heart for you. Do you understand? Like, it's a two-way thing. It's not just something, interacting with people is not just something that you do, it's something that you are. It's something that you receive. So doing and receiving are part of being. Okay, so if you're only doing and never receiving, that's not really being. That's just, it's just being on all the time and going and never stopping and never taking a break. And also conversely, if you're a taker and you only take, I mean, that goes without saying. Like that's not a pretty dope way to be. Like nobody wants to be that guy. But so interactions with people are always two ways. So when you make a mistake, you should expect to be forgiven, provided that you sincerely acknowledge that you messed up and that it wasn't intentional, that you didn't intend to. Or even if it was intentional, I mean, I don't know, look, I'm not here to judge. But, the point is that when you're with the right group of people, or the right person, there's always give and take, and there's forgiveness, and there's love. There's always love. And if you struggle with this concept, it could be that you impose on yourself conditional love. So perhaps you're very giving with other people and you're quite unconditional with your approach to other people, but when it comes to yourself, you're very conditional with yourself, you're harsh with yourself. So let's say you make a mistake, you'll really beat yourself up about it. You'll think about it endlessly, like, oh, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. I feel so bad. I feel so guilty. I feel terrible. It's awful what I did. And you won't even be able to let it go. You won't be able to forgive yourself. And so what you must learn to do is to forgive yourself, to just say, you know what, I messed up, but it's okay. And that fosters within you a personal sense of unconditional love rather than giving yourself conditional love. And when you foster within yourself a sense of unconditional love, what that does is it immediately it immediately sort of creates boundaries that you don't even have to think about putting in place. And so if you love yourself unconditionally, when someone tries to mess with you, they're going to understand that they can't get away with messing you because you won't allow it. You won't allow it to continue because you love yourself unconditionally, and therefore you do not allow someone else to give you love, but only with conditions. Do you understand? I'm not sure if I'm getting this right today. I wanted to make the video earlier on in the day, and the sun is kind of setting here, and I feel the sun's getting real low. And I feel like my ideas are like, they're trying to come out and they're going, turning into dust people. Turning into Marvel dust people. But anyway, yeah, so if you love yourself like conditionally, then you're going to tend to be boundaryless, and people will keep coming at you with their bullshit, and you're going to allow that to happen. And you're going to buy into it as well. You're going to believe it. You're going to be like, yeah, well, you know, I deserved that because I didn't do enough. I didn't give enough. I need to keep doing more. I need to keep giving more. And so, and especially when it comes to new groups of people or a new person, it's sort of hard to know where the line is, like where the line is, where enough is, because you don't really know them and they don't really know you. And if you're that kind of person that's essentially boundaryless, you're gonna wind up feeling very low about yourself if you keep on continuing to give to this group that is rejecting you. And so well, that was noisy. Both cats looked out the window. They're still looking. And so when rejection is given to you, an improved approach to receiving that rejection is to say, thanks. Thanks for the info, man. Now I know that I can move on with my life, and I can put my efforts into a different venture, one that is going to be fruitful, one that is going to be beneficial to me, one that is going to be something that makes me feel good, not something that makes me feel crummy. And finally, I'd also like to add that another aspect to continuing to try and impress someone or a group is you may also have an issue with like over explaining yourself. You'll try to get this person or this group to understand you by constantly explaining yourself. Oh, I did this because of this, and I did that because of that, and this is who I am, and these are the feelings that I have, and therefore this and therefore that. And the thing is, like, it shouldn't have to be so hard. When you have the right person in front of you and the right group in front of you, they will want to know who you are, and they will want to understand you, and they will want to be forgiving, and they will want to be loving, and therefore you won't have to over explain yourself, constantly repeating the same thing all the time, or finding a different way to show them how to treat you, or show them how to accept you, or show them how to love you. And you won't have to overextend yourself. So stop explaining yourself to people who are hell-bent on misunderstanding you, and stop trying to impress people who have already decided, they've decided just from looking at you, just from the get-go, that they don't want to have anything to do with you. So say, yeah, okay, fuck it, man. I don't want to have anything to do with you either. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your likes and subscribes, and I think I have 23 subscribers now, which I'm quite happy about. I like the number 23. And if you would like to know when I upload my videos, because I don't have a schedule, you can hit the bell button at the bottom, and you'll get a notification whenever I record a video. So as always, I wish you a wonderful day, and if the day is garbage, then I'm sorry about that, but you can do it, you can do this, you got it, you're tough, you're a tough cookie, you're strong, and you can handle it, and you'll be fine. Ask yourself how you feel, process your emotions, and do something today that you enjoy.